Okay.
Can I join on the LinkedIn?
Not yet. It's waiting. There's about a 30-second lag. So you should maybe in
But I should be then in the waiting room, no?
I don't think there is a waiting room. Try. I don't think there is one. I think it just tells you, okay, live.
Starting soon. Yeah, it says
Yeah.
starting soon. So let's see.
So I'll hit go live. It'll just take a couple of seconds.
This is exciting.
30-second lag. So you should maybe.
But I should be then in the waiting room, no?
You can see us now?
Yeah.
There we go. I think my camera is a bit dirty. Okay. Let's see if that improves the video quality. I look at my old videos now and there's so many where my screen is clearly, it just needs somebody to wipe it, but I didn't have that knowledge, just that knowledge to clean your camera.
Well, let me do mine then. I think it's clean.
Oh dear. Okay, so we'll give it some time for people to join because I know it's on the hour. So usually people are between calls, between meetings. If you have joined us, please drop in the chat where you're joining from. That would be amazing.
Need to put my glasses on. I can't see the reading.
Okay. Hi, Emma. I can see you on here. Good to see you. Drop in the chat where you are joining from. Emma is an amazing friend of mine, and she's a menopause advocate. She does a lot of work educating women individually, but also going into corporate organizations to inform them of the impacts of menopause and how they can support women. She's got, I think, one of the accredited modules that organizations can run on learning about menopause, because actually from a change perspective for women personally, that's such a critical transition point, and there's not usually support for that, is there?
No, not at the moment, but it's getting better. But I see we have someone from Paris and Colombia. Hello, Angela.
Oh, wow. And Beverly from Loughborough. Beverly, amazing to see you. Beverly did one of the programs as well and hoping to do a session with her.
Yeah, I remember we were in the program together with Beverly. Yes.
Geneva, Prague, amazing.
Hi, Roman. Roman, I know you. Yeah, we were together in several CMI events.
Oh, that's great. I found somewhere. So what we'll do is we'll give it a couple of minutes. It's just 12 o'clock on the dot, and usually people are transitioning between meetings and things. So we'll probably start in about 3 or so minutes. So thank you so much for your patience all.
And just for people who are maybe confused, Nissi referring to 12 o'clock, it's 1 o'clock in Prague, where I am. So we have a time shift here.
Yes. And I wonder what time it is in Colombia.
Must be very early, no?
Global community, that's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I guess it's very early in the morning in Colombia, 6-ish or something like that.
Oh, wow. Halifax, hello in Halifax. Hi, Ahmed. From Toronto. Hi, Wendy.
Hello.
7 a.m. Oh, you know what? Commitment. If I could give on this call, like TikTok has, you can give like awards that convert to money. If I could give you something that converted to money, I would do, Angela. That is commitment. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I always signed up for these events broadcasted from Australia, and I never make it because of the time difference.
Oh gosh, yeah, there is such a time difference. I was on a call with somebody in Australia, and so I was up at 5 a.m.
Oof,
Yes,
that's very
yes,
early.
very early. It's always interesting. Okay, we'll get started in about a minute or so, just because there is a lot to get through, and I know a lot of people watch back the recordings and people drop in and out as they see fit. So we'll just give it another minute and then we will start. Great. So it's time according to my time. So welcome all, welcome those of you who are on here live. Welcome to those of you who'll be watching back the recording. My name is Nissi Ozigbu, and today we are joined by Zuzana Fiantokova, and she will be talking to us about doing change with people and for people. Now, this is a new part of my LinkedIn Live series where I'll be inviting guests who I've worked with over the past couple of months or in the past couple of years, whether they've been coaching clients or corporate clients, one-to-one or group clients, just to share a bit about their journey. I'm always so in awe of the people that I work with, and you can share a bit on posts, but I think there's nothing more powerful than hearing directly from the people who form our change ecosystem and who are quite literally transforming the way that we work and kind of leaving their footprint and their legacy in our spaces. So whether that's in the UK or Czech Republic, where Zuzana is based. So I wanted to share that with you. For those of you who are not familiar with me and my work, my name is Nissi Ozigbu. I've been working as a transformation professional focused on change management for the last 15 or so years across a number of industries. And in the last 2 years, I've focused my attention on helping change leaders to really walk the talk, be the change via social media, via building their personal brand, and also reviewing their positioning and their communication so that they are able to have maximum impact and influence, but without burnout and a ton of boring guides. So that is my kind of positioning. I want to now introduce you to Zuzana. I'll hand over to her so that she can tell you a bit about herself, and we'll go from there.
Hello, everyone. Greetings from Prague. My name is Zuzana, which is a specific spelling for Czech and Slovak language, but I'm used to a different formats of my name. I have a slide about my journey, but maybe we can go there.
Let me just bring that up.
So I start, and it's called From Intuition to Expertise because that's my journey to change management. And my professional career started in training and development and human resources. For 14 years, I've been in different roles, mostly in HR executive roles. And throughout this period, I have delivered numerous changes, organizational or technology changes. But that time I had no idea what change management is. I was really doing it intuitively. You know, many times change, transformation, organizational change landed on my desk from the top, from the owners, from the C-level executive executives. And I was asked to deliver. And that time, that was about 15 years ago, I didn't ask the questions. I just, got hold of it and delivered. Because of my first initial background being in the cruise line industry where there was a strong focus on people, that was always my mantra. But not all the changes that I was delivering during those times actually landed well. And then I took a sabbatical, and after sabbatical, I was rethinking my operating model because I didn't want to be an employee anymore. I didn't want to go back to the corporate life as an employee. And I started to freelance as a consultant, and I smoothly shifted from HR consultancy to change management. And that's when I realized I need some background, some studies and so on. That's why I say to expertise, because I formally attended ProSci. Then I did lean change management with Justin Balaski. I'm sure everyone knows him here in this community. And then I met Nissi last year. So throughout those last 10 years, I've done a lot of formal training in change management, and also the scope of my project have changed. That's why it says 20 years, because I did around 10, 14 years intuitively, but then last 10 years I did really as an expert. And throughout all my career, I delivered more than a lot of projects to more than 20 countries, because my last few years I spent delivering global projects worldwide. So that's a bit about me. Maybe one information, an interesting fact: I was born in Czechoslovakia, which is a country that doesn't exist. But I still consider myself Czechoslovak, even though I'm from Slovakia now originally, but I live in Prague, Czech Republic. So these are two separate countries, but I'm still deep in my heart and my soul Czechoslovak.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for that introduction. Um, just a quick one. This is something that we hadn't discussed before, but if there was one lesson that you've learned about delivering change across so many different countries, and you were talking to a newbie, somebody who's just entered change management and they're going to be working on a global transformation, and they need to bear in mind different cultures, the way people respond to different messages, the way hierarchies are set up, system, everything. And there's only one piece of advice that you could give them to maybe help them prevent some of the mistakes that you made and only learn from experience. What would it be?
Listen to the context of the country and of the people, of the culture. I think that's extremely powerful and also important for the global transformations. And that's one of my points, which I have later in the presentation as well.
That's amazing. Okay, so what I'll do, let me hand over to you to get into the presentation, because I feel like we've really set the scene now. And then at the end, we can talk a bit more about our relationship, how we've worked and everything else. So let's get into your presentation. Do you want me to go from the first slide, or can I move on?
No, I think we can move on. So today I would like to speak about my story, presenting you one project that I delivered, because in this project I actually accumulated all my experience and all that professional training that I received throughout the years. So I feel that this is where I was the most mature and applied the most strategic approach. It was last 3 years, I was delivering a project for a global pharmaceutical company, Novartis. And we were implementing a time and absence tracking system. That was actually as a result of Workday implementation, where Workday is apparently a really good HR system, but when it comes to complexities of time and absence tracking, there is certain functionalities that are not present or possible. So we were implementing workforce software, which is a SAS cloud system in 5 countries with a super complex legal environment, employee diversity, and also different operational needs because of the production sites, laboratories, sales force, and office employees. There were also part-timers. Home office was applied. And we implemented that for 5 countries in Europe: Spain, Switzerland as a headquarter, Slovenia, Romania, and Turkey. And the scope was to impact more than 20,000 employees, biggest population in Switzerland as a headquarter. And my role there was as a global change management lead. So I was responsible for building the strategy and then also delivering to certain countries. We can move to the next slide. So I would like to share with you here what worked well in this project from the perspective of change management. And I'm really only going to focus on the perspective of change management and on the strategic role. So I was responsible for building the global strategy, but when I was building the global strategy, I was not making it alone. I leveraged the support and experience of the program manager. I was very closely working with sponsor from the very beginning. And in the next slide, you will see, and don't move it there yet, you will see that was one of the crucial relationships we had. The reason why I started in this project from the very beginning were these two people, because they were very enlightened in nowadays world of change management, and they knew that they need someone who will run change management strategically right from the beginning of the program. So we worked together on the global strategy. I also worked very closely with the subject matter experts. In this specific project, it was time service delivery experts, listening to their insights and so on. So that was a global strategy. That was our Bible. But as we already discussed, Nissi, it was our guide, our Bible, but we didn't go strictly by that, because then we had to apply it to the countries. And in the countries, we needed to contextualize, to adapt to the cultures, to adapt to the country needs, to the operational needs. So global strategy, our baseline, but when we went to the countries and we did the country implementation, we always consider the local context, the local population, local legislation, from the change management perspective, the needs of individual personas. So that was very important. Also, stakeholder engagement was very important for me and is always very important for me. So it's engaging different stakeholder groups gradually in different phases, starting with sponsor, but luckily here he was very much involved and he was present throughout the entire project. So that was fantastic. But not only these kind of sponsors, but when we were in the country, involving the local sponsors. So that was important. And then co-creation, involving but also actively engaging different groups. It was not me running the change. I was the facilitator, right? I was just putting out forward ideas, asking questions, coaching, and finding out information. And then when we were creating change ambassador networks, when we were creating change management plan, communication, training, it was always a dialogue between different groups, not only sponsor and program manager, but also subject matter experts in the country, HR leadership, and change ambassadors and so on. So these were the 4 points where I say that were my basis of the strategic change management here. I don't know if there are any questions.
Yeah, what we'll do, we'll go on to the next slide because there is the inherent delay. So if you're just joining a LinkedIn Live for the first time, we present to you, but there's about a 1 minute delay. So put your question in the chat. I'm monitoring the chat and I'll pause Zuzana so that we can pick up your question as we go on. So as you have questions, please do drop them in the chat.
Yeah, good, thank you. Now, these are my proud moments. This is where I think really the strategic perspective worked well. So when I was before we went to the countries, when I was creating the global strategy, we mapped personas. So we needed to really understand who the impacted groups are. And we had around 7 of them, I believe. We had employees, but we didn't just stay with the employee group. We split the employees to production, to home, to Salesforce, to laboratory, and to office. because all these different groups, they had specific needs. There was a specific impact. The change plan was different slightly for all of these. We had managers, we had HR population, we had the time service delivery experts, and very specific group, very small in all those 20,000 plus people, but very important were the executive assistants, very specific group. So we mapped these. I personally interviewed these people, not all of them, but we picked the like individuals from each group, and we interviewed them asking about the pain points, about the needs, what works in the current system, what they wish to have in the so-called wish list. Of course, we could not meet all the expectations, but we got a really good understanding how they prefer the training to be delivered, right? Many times there is only one training slide for all the kinds of people, all the kinds of personas, and the slide deck has over 100 slides. But we understood this is not something they want. So we really adjusted our training strategy to that, and then also communication strategy. Training strategy, why I mention it here, we had to look at it from two perspectives. One was looking at what the needs are for the subject matter experts, those who will work with the system from the back end. And there were specific needs because they were the masters of the system. And then we had to look at the needs of the individual of other personas, the end users, the employees, the managers, the HR. And we built two different perspectives for this. So that was also specific. And within the bigger group, the end user, I also proposed split. The production has different needs. They can't go to the computer and watch the online stream, or the options are very limited. And also their digital savviness is not maybe on such a level as when you are a field force or when you are office employee. So this was also something that we really looked into the detail, and there was a very thorough distinction on channels and content and so on. And then change ambassador networks. There was a guideline, but then for each country, and again, I say this goes to the local context, in each country we had a specific change ambassador network. We didn't create one for all the countries or for all the project, but we really, in each country, we created a specific one based on the personas, based on the country context as well. And then, I facilitated the networks together with the subject matter experts. I was preparing the questions and the agenda and so on. So this is what I see is also a strategic approach, because you navigate through this group, you navigate these subject matter experts, but also you navigate the change ambassadors. And then, it's a dialogue, it's an engagement, they bring you something. Then I brought all the inputs from these people, I brought it to the project team. Yeah, and we enhanced the solution. We changed the change plan, maybe because they said, this doesn't work for these groups. So for me, this is the strategic change management. When you spend time with people, when you listen, and then you bring the insights to the project team, and then you improve the solution, you improve the change. At the same time, you can influence those change ambassadors. You can give them the transparent information, build trust. And they did really work for us, they were promoting, and that was fantastic. When I was leaving the project, I was receiving messages from the individuals. They are set to leave me go. So we really built relationships here. So I'm very proud, especially for the change ambassador networks. That's my biggest proud moment.
That's amazing. We have a question here from Wendy. So, what is one piece of advice you would give to someone wanting to transition from task-based change management, i.e., moving change records from creation to close? So, maybe this is more in the technical bit, to organizational strategic change management.
Mm-hmm. I think you need to be connected or understand that. So first you need to be connected to the people who understand change management within the organization, and then build relationship with these people. Let them understand that there is more to the change management than just creating analytics and dashboards and monitoring. And build their trust. I was very lucky here because I had allies in program manager and in sponsor. They fully trusted me. They understood how I worked from the previous project. It was a journey. So go out there, show your potential. It's also about the personality. One day sometime someone told me, you have a special skill. When they throw you out, you come back another way, but you don't let go because you have a vision how to make this happen. So don't get discouraged when they tell you no the first time, but really show what you can bring by not only talking but doing it. Maybe come up with, when you have a dashboard, when you have an analytics, bring out what more it can bring to the project, to the change.
Thank you. I couldn't agree more, especially with your last point, Zuzana, because you working in technical change management, you have access to data that probably the organizational change manager doesn't even have access to. So if you can tell the story around that data and what the impact is for people and start connecting and showing your value, I think you're really taking the right steps to make that transition. So thank you. That was the last question for now. And Wendy said, thank you. Am I moving on to the next slide?
Yes, please. And here, this is actually the core of the success, right? How I build the success of the change management for this specific project. And this is something I'm taking with me for other projects. It's really about building relationships from the beginning of the initiative with different groups. And I mentioned them in the previous slide. You have all of them here. We engaged, especially in the local context, in the countries, we engaged them gradually. Obviously, the country SMEs, subject matter experts, they were involved right from the beginning, even in the global design phase. But then when we went to the countries, the first who were involved were local HR leadership, and then local change ambassadors, and then we had various local groups, whether it was some managers or different, let's say, specific groups that were focused. We engaged with the trade unions and workers' council. They were part of our ambassador network, and we had a really fantastic relationship. So it was really great. But how did I achieve that? So I'm just being authentic. So it's not that I'm pretending something. If I don't know, I tell them I don't know, but I will get back to them. Yeah. That was with the HR leadership or change ambassadors when they ask questions. Even the SMEs, this was my guidance to them. If you get a question in the forum, in the change ambassador session, tell them we don't know, we'll find out. And we did. Yeah, you need to go back. You just can't say I don't know, but you really need to go back there, whether it's via email or a message or whatever. So it was being authentic, building trust, and being transparent as well. So if there was something that didn't work, especially around the go live, a few things maybe were delayed, or after go live something didn't work or didn't work as everyone imagined, even us, technology, I always say it's more temperamental than people. You never know what to expect. So we tell them, it's a surprise for us as well, but we are looking into it. And we'll get back to you. It's our priority number something, because our project team was monitoring this, and we had a really good system at monitoring the issues. So these things help me to build really strong relationships from top to worker council representatives and trade unions. And I can confidently say that I didn't have to, after some time, introducing myself and what they see, I didn't have to beg for attention. Like we know in change management community, that this is many times the case. When I ask for something, or when I scheduled a meeting, or we needed a dialogue, discussion, it was happening. It was happening with respect, and I received really good feedback, questions and so on. So relationship building is really core of the success of the change management for me.
Yeah, we've got another question from Beverly. What insights can you share about setting up and maintaining ambassador networks?
Wow, that's a very broad topic. I can speak about it for hours, and I'm preparing actually training about it. But you need to understand what you need, and what they are supposed to do, change ambassadors. So the needs, and then what you want to deliver. But I think one of the most repeating question or aha moment, which I always answer, is you need to have someone who facilitates these groups. They can't exist independently. So once you create them, you need someone who knows how to facilitate. It can be change manager, or it can be someone from leadership or managers, or a excited volunteer, I don't know. But there needs to be a facilitator. They need to understand a bit of the topic. I was not an expert on all the processes within the time and absence, but being in the change process, I understood what is changing. So I was able to moderate the meetings, right? So I prepared the agenda always with the in collaboration with the subject matter experts, because I had some insights, but they had some insights. So we put that into the agenda. And then I kicked off the meeting, but then I let the subject matter experts to lead it, because I could not answer all the questions, some of the questions on change management. But that one specific person who facilitates the meeting is crucial to the success, because then it was me bringing back the insights. It was me going back to HR boards, telling them this is the feedback from Change Ambassador. I was spreading the messages. You need that. You need that facilitation and moderation. So I think that's one advice that I would give.
Thank you. Is it the next slide?
That's just a close of my story, actually, because based on the relationship building and all these groups, this is the statement which I go by. I created this statement, and it's really the change management, or any kind of change, transformation, transition is not going to be successful if you don't involve people early. Yeah, it's not involving them and engaging them at certain stage. You really need to understand who these people are and when to involve them, and gradually. You don't need to involve them all at the same time, but the different stakeholder groups at the specific time, and earn their trust. Earn their trust. Really, that's important. Okay, so that's my story. I don't know if you have any other questions. Here you can, if you are interested about more of my insights, you can join my newsletter here, which is called Change Busters. So I'm trying to bust the myth about the change in organizational leadership. You all know them. Communication is enough. We have a methodology. We don't need anything else. Or change management or change manager. It's sufficient when they join us 1 month before go live. So this is the the line of the topics. I'm trying to put there my perspective and my experience. So feel free to sign up. And this is my services. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I focus on 3 areas within the change management. So I'm still working with the companies as a change management consultant on contract basis. I coach, whether it's leaders or it's change management professionals on change management topic. So if you want to deliver the topic or deliver the change and you are not sure how to approach that and you want to build a strategy or you want to understand what to look at, or for example, like Wendy asked, like, how do I transition from this role to this role? Many years before I did a career coaching. So career coaching, change management, all goes hand in hand. And then I'm actually building a change academy, which is a platform and training programs on change management. I'm focusing on Czech markets because here in this geographical region, change management is fairly new comparing to all the other, I would say, Anglo-Saxon regions, where in Australia, right, 20 years of Change Management Institute, in UK, Canada, you are so much ahead of us. Here, we are a group of several change management professionals, and we're building awareness on this discipline. And my choice is LinkedIn awareness, or through LinkedIn posts and awareness, but also through some trainings, workshops, webinars, and that's my Change Academy. So it's a group of different trainings and so on. So this is my scope of work or expertise.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Zuzana. And there's some comments to say that this was really, really valuable. So I'd recommend, if you're not connected with Zuzana already, reach out. You can scan that QR code. It will take you straight to her LinkedIn, and then you can connect with her for any of those services, consultancy, coaching, and her Change Academy. So this is the Strategic Change Leader Takeover. And for those of you who missed the intro, the Strategic Change Leader is only one program that I offer, but I do a number of kind of one-to-one coaching and corporate engagement. So I wanted to talk a bit about the journey that Zuzana and I have been on. Now, everybody knows why I would work with you. You've got an amazing work history. There's so much that you've done. What made you reach out to me?
Well, I'm an eternal learner, and I always look for ways how to improve my way of my way of life, but my way of working as well. And I started to notice you on LinkedIn sometimes mid-year last year, I would say. And like everyone else comments, your bright yellow color is the first sign you get the attention. But then I realized that what you say and what you write is really resonating. Very strong impact on me. And I really enjoyed it. That was already the time when I was playing with the idea. I just don't want to, end up as a change management contractor. I want to build this into more streams. I did coaching before, but it was mostly career coaching. And I said, I want to educate the world, especially in this region, right, where I am, about change management. And I really liked what you were saying about positioning, about being strategic, the language we use. And I said, okay, I think I need Nissi's support to kick me to the first few steps, because, every month I was like, this is what I want to do, this is how I want to do it, but I never got the courage. And then I was like, okay, I need to move on, but how do I do that? I need a guide. And that's when I reached out to you. I saw your post about masterclass, individual masterclass, and I was like, okay, I want to do this. And that's when we started to communicate. I reached out, and I don't know, it happened so fast that suddenly I was, in a program with you, but I really needed a guide. And I think that was extremely helpful. And in what it is now, 6 months, I've moved miles.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's been the biggest transition or aha moment, or when you look back and you think about where you were when you started to where you are now, what's been the biggest change personally for you?
I think, it's the confidence. People tell me, I come across confidently. I've done training. I've done, speaking for many years. My first job was training and development manager. So I don't have a public speaking fear or stage fright, but going out there on social media, and talking about my experience, the imposter syndrome we all have. Like you told me many times that I have a wealth of knowledge and experience. And I know I do. I read a lot. I attend all these courses. I delivered changes to many industries and many different groups and so on. But going out there and started to speak about this experience and being or trusting myself, that was the biggest issue. So nowadays, I confidently, still there are lows and ups and lows, but very much 90% confidently, I am out there on LinkedIn posting videos. Thanks to Nissi, you can all see my videos on LinkedIn. I still remember when I was making the first video. Oh my God, that was a disaster. That was just a trial, but still, very uncomfortable situation. And you guided me through how I look, but also mostly that was how I position the words and the language. And I think that made me more confident. I'm still on the journey, but that's the biggest difference.
That's amazing. And we have some questions. And can I just say, first of all, your first video was not terrible compared to my first video. Yours was a million miles better than my first video. And for those who are interested, if you scroll to the beginning of my TikTok, I always say this, I actually look grey in the video, for one. Second of all, I look like a deer in the head, like I just look petrified and I'm talking with who should be scared, you watching a grey woman talking to you. So it was nowhere near as bad as mine was. And second, like, confidence is always a journey, isn't it? I'm
Yeah.
reminded of the first LinkedIn Live that I did on my Google Photos. And I was petrified before that thing, and I actually broke out in hives afterwards. So it's been massively inspirational to see how fast you've gone on this journey. Okay, so
Before you go to the question, what is the best part of this journey is that I have a hashtag living the change, because this is truly transformational, and you get to understand how people feel when they have to adopt the change. So you really get that empathetic view of someone else in the corporation, in organization, when they have to adopt and accept new technology or new organizational change. So that gives me that feeling. I believe so.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you and I are very aligned. You're living the change, I'm be the change. And I know we've always said we're so aligned on that, because when we as change makers are going on this journey to put ourselves out there, and can I just say, so many more of us need to go on this journey, because the misconception around change management and people's lack of understanding, it's going to sound harsh, but it's down to us. There's more
Yeah.
that we can and we should be doing. And the fact that most of us can name on our two hands people that we look to for accessible change knowledge, because I'm not talking about the books. There's so many books written on change management, and they're great books, but nobody's going to read them other than academics and change practitioners. And that's not who we're targeting. We're targeting CEOs, we're targeting head of marketing, we're targeting head of finance, head of business. They're not going to go to the books, but they are on LinkedIn, they are on social media, they are showing up in conversations. So how we show up in those spaces is so important. But for most of us, it's very uncomfortable to put ourselves in the position to be sharing and educating.
Yes.
So as Zuzana was saying, when you sit with that discomfort, it makes it visceral. You feel how your stakeholders feel when you're equally asking them to do things that are very uncomfortable and very outside of their comfort zone. So the empathy that you develop during this process is second to none, really.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm so grateful for this experience. If it doesn't bring anything else, I know that I'm going to go into a next project with better understanding.
Absolutely. So we've got a question here from Angela. Have you noticed any differences in change management practices between different countries?
Because so that has two layers, this question. Within my project, I was working with one company which was very change management enlightened. So there I had a lot of support, which was great. When I look at it outside of my latest project, I see the difference, how change management is perceived in different countries. Absolutely. Just an example of Czech Republic and Slovakia. So it's an emerging discipline. A lot of people say they understand change management, but it's not in that sense how we know it, you know. It's more like, you know, I'm an HR leader, or I am a leader, and I delivered changes. But that, I think in many cases, it's that intuitive change management, which I did 10, 15 years ago. That's where we are now. What I understood is the same in Austria and Germany, but I can't say. But Czech Republic and Slovakia definitely are at the beginning of the journey. And it's very difficult to have people understand that there is a different approach to that. But I think we are on a good way with all those my colleagues, which is few of us, making the awareness here.
Great. We've got a couple of comments. So thank you for the amazing topic. Then another comment: imposter syndrome is very real and prevalent and does need to be discussed openly. So thank you for sharing openly. Then another question: what are some daily routines you put in place to stay grounded and to show up as a leader?
Well, it's, you know, I am not perfect, and I still have my moments where I would like, oh my God, Zuzana, you know, what did you just say? What did you just do? But throughout the years, I normally, if I have a momentum, I draft an email and I don't send it. You know, I wait until the next day and then I read it again, especially when I'm emotional, and I get very emotional. So that's one thing, you know, delaying my reaction. Another thing is naming your emotion. That's the regular, let's say, the basics, right? I'm sure many of you knows that when I get emotional, or let's say, you know, something is taking away my stability, then I try to look into inside of me and see what's happening. Again, that's very difficult because you need to be conscious that something is happening to you. But I learned in years. And then lately, the best thing, which I really, you know, that's the best thing. You have to have a good sleep. That's the basics. If you don't have a good sleep, then your stability, your balance, it's out of the window.
Absolutely. So that's it. We're now out of time. I know the time has absolutely flown. So if you want to get in contact with Zuzana to do coaching, consulting, just to continue this conversation, you can reach out to her on LinkedIn, name as shown in her bit below here. And if you want to reach out to me about any of my coaching, again, reach out to me via the name that's shown on here. Otherwise, thank you so much for your time and enjoy the rest of your day, whatever time it is where you are.
And I just want to say one thing, Nissi. If you are on the verge of moving forward with your change management practice and you just need that little kick, Nissi is the right person to go to. Really, she helped me a lot. So absolutely recommend.
Thank you so much. Take care, all.
Thank you, Nissi, for this opportunity.
No, thank you so much for honoring it. All right, let me end the stream.